Have you ever seen a repeating number or a specific bird and just felt a rush of excitement, only to have your brain immediately shut it down as just a coincidence? Or worse, have you found yourself obsessively looking for signs because you're terrified of making the wrong move? Well, today we're moving past the magical thinking and into the grounded art of spiritual conversation. This episode is going to change the way that you look at your daily life forever. So make sure you're somewhere where you can really be present and stay tuned till the end because I have something special for you that'll help you tune into the language of the universe so strongly that people will think that you've been hiding a magical gift from them. Welcome to Jotindi, Journey to the Inner Divine, a sacred space for healing energy, emotional release, and soulful transformation. If you're ready to live with joy, ease, and purpose, you're in the right place. So, let's talk about how this language of the universe actually works. Because I think a lot of us grew up thinking that if the universe wanted to tell us something, it would be like a cosmic GPS, a booming voice shouting, "Turn left at the next career choice," or "Stop, don't date that person." And when we don't hear that loud, clear command, we panic. We think we're disconnected. But here's the truth that changes everything once you're awake. The universe speaks in patterns, not commands. So think of it less as a GPS and more like a rhythmic resonance. It's like a song that's always playing in the background. When you're in alignment, you start to hum the same tune, and suddenly you notice the lyrics everywhere. Guidance isn't an external order, it's a reflection of your internal state. When your frequency shifts, the signs that you see are simply the universe mirroring that shift back to you. It's the external world saying, "Yes, I see you. We are in sync." Now, if you're listening and thinking, yeah, so I've tried to see the signs and I just feel like I am blind to them, I want you to take a deep breath and remember what we talked about in the last episode, the chaos. When your nervous system is braced for impact, your receiver is in static mode. You weren't blocked spiritually, you're just tuned into the frequency of survival. But now that you've heard that last episode, you've started to clear that static. Now that you're in the realign stage, your receiver is coming back online. And you don't have to go out and find any signs today. You don't have to hunt them down like a detective because you've done the work to settle your system. You're finally becoming perceptive enough to see what was always there. It's like looking at one of those magic eye posters from the 90s. At first, it just looks like a bunch of noise. But the moment you relax your eyes, the moment you stop straining to see it, that 3D image just pops. And this is real. This is biological and spiritual reality. You have the hardware and you have the soul connection. You're not learning a foreign language, you're remembering your mother tongue. You have every ability to tap into this. And as we move through this episode, I'm going to show you exactly how your specific soul dialect works. Now, let's go into the area where most of us get tripped up. I get asked this all the time. Mariah, how do I know if this is actually a sign from the universe or if I'm just projecting my own desperate hopes and fears onto some random bird? Well, it's a valid question. And the answer isn't found in a book. It's found in your somatic response. Think of it this way. Projection is usually born in the firefighter mind. When we are desperate for an answer or terrified of making a mistake, our brain goes into overdrive. We start hunting for signs to validate a decision that we've already made or to soothe an anxiety that we just can't shake. Projection feels like a chase. It feels urgent. It feels like I have to see that red car in the next 5 minutes or it means I shouldn't take that job. So if you're straining, if your heart is racing, if you feel a sense of forcing, that is your nervous system looking for a life raft. It's not a sign, it's a symptom of your need for safety. Synchronicity, on the other hand, feels like a click. A true synchronicity is a meaningful coincidence that drops into your lap when you aren't even looking. It doesn't feel like a shout, it feels more like a nudge. It carries a specific energetic signature, which is calm certainty. When a true sign appears, your body doesn't ramp up into high gear, it actually settles. You might feel a knowing in your gut, or a sudden release of tension in your shoulders, or a quiet aha moment. It's the difference between a loud, crashing wave and a steady, deep pull of the tide. So here's the Seeker's Limitus test that I want you to use. Okay. Projection asks, does this mean what I want it to mean? Accompanied by a bunch of mental chatter. And synchronicity says, oh, there you are, accompanied by a deep, relaxing breath. Projection is the mind trying to lead the body, and synchronicity is the universe meeting the body where it's already at peace. One is an exit, the other is an epiphany. And as you move into the realign stage of the healing arc, you find that you don't need to test the signs as much because your body is becoming a more finely tuned instrument. You'll start to recognize the ring of truth the same way that you recognize the voice of a best friend on the phone. You don't have to analyze it, you just know. And I want to take a moment and talk about where this language actually lives. Because here's the secret: the universe doesn't actually have a standard dictionary. It doesn't use a universal manual that applies to everyone in exactly the same way. Instead, the universe uses your personal database. It uses your memories, your favorite movies, the books that made you cry, and even your most intense personal experiences to create a soul dialect that is just for you. For me, a huge part of my database has always been my dreams. For most of my life, my dream world has been incredibly intense. I'm talking wildly vivid. It felt like I was literally living two lives. But honestly, it was exhausting as well. Most of my dreams were scary, and for years, my only goal was figure out how to make them stop. I spent so much energy trying to forget them the moment that I woke up. But when I started on my own spiritual journey, I had a massive revelation. By trying to shut down the scary parts, I was ignoring my signs. I was missing out on the deepest parts of myself. I realized that in my dream world, my higher self and my shadow self were constant. They were in constant, clear communication with me. When I finally stopped running and I started listening, those dreams became my greatest source of guidance. And I'll be honest, I'm still learning how to interpret them and find new ways to lean in, but they help me make sense of things that are confusing in my waking life. And they've even kept me safe. Like when I was younger, I received clear, undeniable guidance about things that an ex partner was doing behind my back that were putting me in danger. My dreams weren't trying to scare me, they were alerting me. And this is why I always tell people meaning matters more than interpretation. You don't need Google to tell you what does a dream about a house mean or what does a hawk mean. You need to ask, what does this mean to me? Because the universe is brilliant. It's going to use the symbols that you recognize. And the way that you know it's working isn't just by seeing the thing, it's about how you feel when it shows up. I'll give you a perfect example. One time I asked for a sign to help me make a big decision, and I asked specifically to see a frog, but not just any frog. I asked for a frog with bubbly toes. And that entire day, I saw dozens of frogs. They were everywhere. It was kind of crazy. I saw them all over the place, but not a single one had bubbly toes. And I started to go into that kind of firefighter brain, trying to force it. I was like, is the universe trying to tell me that I'm close, but I'm not quite there? Or is this regular frog enough? Is this close enough to the sign that I asked for? Oh, look, there's another one. Is it trying to hammer the issue home? I was really trying to interpret the meaning. But then the very next day, I was in a store and I wasn't really looking for the sign anymore. But bam, right there in front of me was a frog with those big bubbly toes. And in that moment, the chase stopped. I didn't have to wonder. I didn't have to interpret. I just knew. The universe had been trying to show me, and when it saw me getting confused by the regular frogs, it gave me exactly what I asked for so that there would be no question. And that click of excitement and peace is the real language. So if you've been ignoring your dreams because they're too much, or if you've been looking at a symbol dictionary trying to figure out why you keep seeing a specific animal, just stop. Instead, start asking yourself, your own inner divine that is already connected to the infinite wisdom, what are you trying to tell me in a way that only I can understand? I want you to trust your own personal database, trust your history, and most importantly, trust that feeling of aha when the bubbly toes finally show up. So, how do we actually start living this language? Because awareness is beautiful, but embodiment is where the transformation actually lives. I want to give you a few very simple, grounded practices to help you refine your receiver and start your own dialogue with the universe. So, the first practice, the what keeps repeating reflection. At the end of your day, maybe while you're brushing your teeth or laying in bed, I want you to look back over the last 24 hours. And don't look for the big stuff, but look for the threads. Did 3 different people mention the same book? Or did you see the same specific shade of teal 5 times? Or did a song play on the radio that addressed exactly what you were worrying about in that moment? And then write it down. Don't try to analyze it just yet, but just acknowledge it. When you acknowledge the pattern, you're telling the universe, I'm listening. And the more you show the universe that you're listening, the more clearly it will speak. Practice 2 is symbol journaling or your dialogue log. This is where we move away from Google and toward your own heart. When you see a sign like my bubbly toad frog, don't look up what does a frog mean. Instead, grab your journal and answer these 3 questions. What was I thinking or feeling the exact moment that I saw this? What is my personal history with this symbol? Like, does it remind you of your grandmother or a vacation or your favorite movie? And 3, what is the somatic feeling that you are getting in your body right now? Is it a click of peace or is it a rush of anxiety? This will turn your healing into a conversation. It stops being something that you're doing and starts being something that you're experiencing. And if you are more of a somatic type person, you can feel things in your body clearer than your mind. You might want to try the body check-in method. Before assigning meaning to anything, pause and check in with your body and ask yourself, does this feel grounding or is it activating? Does this bring a sense of calm or a sense of urgency? Do I feel more present in this moment or do I feel more anxious after noticing this? Because your body is your first filter. Guidance that's aligned will settle you, not scramble you. And here's the most important part: receiving without obsessing. I want you to practice this set it and forget it method. When you ask for a sign or a symbol of alignment, ask for it with an open heart. Then get busy living. You don't have to hunt for the sign, because if you have to hunt for it, it's not really a sign, it's a search party. True guidance meets you in the flow of your life. It doesn't require that you be a detective. It requires that you witness, that you set your intention, you trust your database, and then you trust that when the time is right, the bubbly toes will show up in a way that you cannot miss. And if you're still struggling with trusting yourself, I want you to ask yourself this trust-building question. What would it feel like to trust myself a little bit more in this moment? Because the goal of this whole thing isn't to rely on signs. It's to strengthen your relationship with your inner knowing. Signs aren't meant to replace your intuition. They're meant to remind you that you already have it. And I want to take a second to land on why this matters. Why am I asking you to look for patterns and talk to the universe? Is it just to see cool things? No. It's because this practice is the most direct way to experience a 1-degree shift in your reality. I've talked about this 1 degree shift in previous episodes. Think of it like an airplane. You're on a path. And if you change the trajectory of your path 1 degree, you're going to end up in a completely different destination, which in our case can be a really great thing. The whole point of this is to shift 1 degree toward the direction that you want to go. And over time, you'll notice your life has become something completely unrecognizable in the absolute best way. So when you're stuck in firefighter mode, when you're just trying to survive the day, your worldview is very small. You feel like your life is happening to you. You feel like a pinball being bounced around by your circumstances, by bills, by other people's energy. That's a state of powerlessness, and it's exhausting. But the moment that you start looking for your personal symbols, the moment that you see your bubbly toes, something shifts. You move your life from life is happening to me to life is in conversation with me. And suddenly you're not alone in the struggle, you're in a partnership. This practice can restore your wonder. And I don't mean wonder in like a childish, fluffy way. I mean the kind of wonder that acts as a soothing medicine for your nervous system. When you realize that the universe is actually listening and responding to you, the world stops feeling like a hostile place and it starts feeling like a playground. You can move from a state of contraction and survival into a state of expansion and alignment. And the most important part of this is that this actually prevents magical thinking. A lot of spiritual advice tells you to give your power away to an expert or a book or a specific system. But by using your own database and your own somatic click of certainty, you keep the power. You are the only one who can interpret your signs. And this keeps you grounded. It prevents you from becoming hypervigilant, from scanning the world for omens of disaster. And instead, it turns you into a conscious co-creator who recognizes invitations for growth. You aren't looking for a sign to tell you what to do because you're scared of being wrong. You're looking for a sign to confirm that you already are walking the right path. That 1 degree shift, moving from am I safe to I am guided, is exactly what allows the inner divine to take the lead in your life. And it's not about finding a magic wand. It's about realizing that you've been holding the compass all along. This work, learning to walk in relationship with the divine, is exactly what we deep dive into within the Aligned Path, my 12-week one-on-one healing intensive. We don't just talk about energy, we help you clear the static. We don't just look for signs, we align your energy so that the signs become your North Star, so that your life becomes a living, breathing conversation with your soul's truth. And here is what I mentioned in the episode's intro. This is a very special offer that I've created just for you. If you are ready to stop guessing and start walking with that sense of certainty, I'm opening the doors for my very first 5-day remembrance event. This is more than just another 5-day challenge. It's a sacred container where you're going to learn the different ways to hear the universe, to connect with your inner wisdom, and to deepen your spiritual connection. Over the course of 5 days, you'll learn how to connect with all of your senses in a way that you never have before. You'll be able to see the signs, to hear the guidance, and feel the next right step in your path. You'll become fluent in the language of the universe so that you can stop guessing and start knowing. We'll wrap the week up with a live video where you can get all your questions answered and connect with the other brilliant women on this path with you. If you're ready, join us for the Oracle Within, a 5-day journey of reconnecting and remembering. And if you're unsure, but you feel a slight tingle somewhere in your body, or if you feel even a tiny pull, or you're a little bit curious, just sign up. It's free, and the only thing you have to lose is confusion. Join us at the link in the show notes or go to mariahaurora.com/oracle. I really hope that you got a lot from today's episode. This information is so profound. It has the power to change everything for you. And if you know someone who could use some life-changing goodness, click that share button and invite them to join the Oracle Within. And if you ask the universe for a sign this week, DM me when it shows up. Let's show everyone what's possible. Until next time, remember, there is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path.